This is my fully electric 2021 Kia Niro, and over the next few weeks I'll be driving it on a full lap of Australia, passing through some very remote places. The charging won't always be easy, but it should be one incredible journey.
Oh my god!
I'm off. It's 7:48, so I think I've done fairly well at leaving. Not exactly sure how to get out, but I'm sure the driveway will lead me there eventually. But now we're off again. I made a bit of a mess in the back turning out so abruptly, but there was a wall of traffic coming towards me. And first stop for the day will be the Tropic of Capricorn sign. Apparently it's not on the main highway here. You have to go on quite a bit of a detour to see it, but I think it's worth the detour. And that will mean we are officially no longer in the tropics. It's currently 26 degrees at 7:50 in the morning and raining on and off and 90-something% humidity, so I think we're still in the tropics right now, but officially in 28 minutes time we'll no longer be in the tropics. So things should start to get more comfortable from there. Just in my drive so far, I think I've seen 2 Teslas driving past, so there's definitely way more EVs on the east coast, just generally. I imagine Perth has quite a few, but up the west coast, other than Perth, there really wasn't much at all. There's quite a decent charging infrastructure now, but I guess it'll take some more time for the EVs to come in. So apparently it's going to take 28 minutes to drive 19 kilometres to this sign. So I guess Rockhampton is kind of a city with peak hour, but I guess I'll turn the camera off and see you then. I think this is it. The structures. Not even a sign? Yeah, okay. That was it. We're now no longer in the tropics. So I've driven about an hour south of Rockhampton after crossing the Tropic of Capricorn, and I've just been heading down the Bruce Highway a bit more, and now I'm stopping. I have no idea what this town is called, but I'm going to a Tesla supercharger here, to plug in for a little bit. I still have 136 kilometers of range. But according to PlugShare, this is the only charger that I could get full power from for quite a while. So I probably will have to top up with a little bit of 50 kilowatt charging at some point, somewhere. But I'll at least plug in now. The car is on 40%, so I should get decent power for a while. Not really sure. I was going to go with this pull-through one, but then I remembered the cable probably wouldn't even reach that. I was going to back in there. This one's like halfway on the side. So I might just be parking pretty weirdly. Oh, there's no one else around. And I'm not actually blocking anyone else, which is good. Some cars with the charging port location, to charge at a Tesla station, you'd have to park in the wrong spot for the charger you're using. So you're essentially taking up two spots. My car with the front charging port, at least, that really never happens. You can always maneuver it in some way that you're only taking up the spot for the charger you're using. So you're effectively only taking up one charger, which is good. I just had to park a bit weirdly to make it work. So that should plug in quite easily, actually. Wow. They really don't give you much cable. I've put the charge port like right at the charger and it's sort of only just it's comfortably reaching, but it couldn't really go any further. But anyway, we're ramping up now at 40%, ramping up a bit slowly. There we go, we're above 50 now, so that makes it worth being here as opposed to somewhere else. Yes, I could have stopped in Rockhampton, but I had like 70%, so I wouldn't have gotten good speeds there. I would have liked to have driven a bit further this morning, but if I drive any further than this, I'm going to be stuck on a 50 kilowatt charger. So I might as well plug in at 40% while I can accept 73 kilowatts, 74 even. So I'm getting really good speeds here right now, but I probably won't stay here for too long. In not too long, the speed should drop below 50, and as soon as it does drop below 50, I'll move a bit further onto another 50 kilowatt charger, where I can get 50 once again and charge there for a little bit till I can make it to the next actual full speed charger. But here's the car weirdly parked. It's interesting the way they've done these in the middle of the spots like this. I think it is meant to make it easier in theory to plug other cars in, because these ones are proudly co-funded by Queensland government. So I think part of that deal was they have to be open to all cars, except clearly not a Nissan Leaf because there's no Chatamo here. And they've got this one which can be helpful at times, or even just towing something with a Tesla. But I'll charge up for a bit here. It's a bit of a weird location, to be honest. There's not a lot around. This is technically in the car park of a hotel, but there is a McDonald's and Caltex down there, so I'll probably walk down there. I've just been looking at PlugShare a bit, and the charging situation over the next stretch is kind of less than ideal. The next actual good full power charger would be that one here. Yes, 150 kilowatts in Gympie, so that's all good. But if I quickly pull that up in Google Maps, that's 367 kilometers away. So I could maybe make that stretch, but I'd have to charge to full and it would just take a long time. It wouldn't make sense to go all the way there without stopping. So I need to top up with a 50 kilowatt charger somewhere in between here and there, which should be perfectly fine. But the next one on from here is about 50 kilometers away, so not really ideal spacing for this one, but it could be doable. But according to PlugShare, some people have quite recently had some issues with that one, so I'd probably skip that one. This one in Gingin is probably what I'm going to end up using. It's showing as not available right now, but the check-ins on PlugShare are positive, and the ChargeFox app shows... I'm on the wrong one. This one, is it? Yes. ChargeFox app shows someone's just charging on it, and they're up to 77%. So by the time I get there, they would be gone. I don't know if there's a line or something of other people there. There might be someone else there when I get there, but that's more sort of a risk I have to take. All of these chargers only have one charger on them. And actually, I can assume there's no one else waiting right now, because if someone else was waiting, they'd be using one of the Type 2 plugs to AC charge while they wait. So, yeah, there's only one person there, and I'm sure they'll be gone by the time I get there. So that's probably what I'll do. On from that, we have one that actually says it's not working. And then we have this one in Maryborough. I think that's how you say that. That's had some quite negative experiences very recently as well, so I'd probably steer clear of that one. Then we have this one. That one's showing as not available, but it might be someone's using it. This one might be an option, but this one's so close to Gympie, at that point it's probably not very helpful. And then we've hit Gympie. So my plan is probably to go to the Gingin, however you say it, bakery, and top up there a little bit. I probably won't need much. I'm up to 73% now. Oh, literally just as I'm saying this, the speed went from like 58 kilowatts to 37 kilowatts. So I think it's time to unplug now and head to the Gingin bakery. And on 73%, got 256 kilometers of estimated range. And that charger is only 165 kilometers away. So I'll unplug from here now and then go on to there. And even though that's only a 50 kilowatt charger, I could still, as long as it's working, get higher speeds that I'm getting right now at 73%. We can see I'm on 73%, down to 37 kilowatts, 25 kilowatt hours delivered in 25 minutes. I will stop charging and quickly go unplug, and then we'll head off. Now 6 minutes from Gingin or Gingin, whatever it is, the charger there, and I'm fairly certain that one's working just fine as long as there's no one at it, which the only reason I'm thinking about someone being at it is because there was someone at it when I looked, and that person will definitely be gone now. They were at 77% like an hour and a half ago, so it's only if someone else is there, but I don't have great reason to believe anyone else would be there. Although I have seen a lot more EVs in the last day or two than I had previously in the trip. Previously in the trip, I had no consideration of other people being at the charger. But even if there is, it's not the end of the world. I'll plug into the AC and just wait for them to be done, but I'm pretty sure it'll be available. And then unfortunately, it is only the 50 kilowatt one, but I'm not sure how much further to Gympie. I think it's another... I might want to have like 200 kilometres of range by the time I leave this charger, but I'm on 119 now, so I really don't need to get much from this charger. I just need to top it up a bit, and yeah, that's where we're at. I actually still haven't had breakfast because I thought I'd have breakfast at the first charge of the day. Then by the time I walked to the toilet and back there, and then sat looking at PlugShare, the car had ramped down the speed charging there, so it made more sense to unplug and move on. So I still haven't eaten anything, but I will hopefully do that once I plug in now, and then it'll be on to Gympie, and then I think it's really not all that far to Brisbane, so hopefully I can make it beyond Brisbane today, but we'll see how we go. Obviously I don't expect to make it drastically beyond Brisbane, but maybe even to the Gold Coast or something would be nice. It's raining again, ready for me to plug in. But it's not proper raining this time, it's just sort of spit in the air, so it won't be too bad. Standing still, it's just when you're driving at 75 kilometres an hour, it sort of hits the windscreen. And the road conditions show everything open and good, so that's a good sign. Oh, there is someone at it. I guess I'll plug into the AC until they're done. So the Tesla was still just trying to figure out how to plug in. They'd never used one of these before, so I helped them get that going. They're on 47% still, and they were getting concerned anyway. So I have to wait for them to finish charging now, or basically wait for them to fully charge however much they want. But I've plugged into the AC charger. I had a bit of trouble getting that going. Turns out you have to plug in, scan the card, and then press the green button. But I'll show you that on the camera after they've left. So I'm getting 7.5 kilowatts at 34%, but I think I will need to use the DC charger after they've left, but I might as well get something while I'm here. I've been here for quite a while. I think they did quite a full charge. I added like 9% through the AC charger, and I've just plugged into the DC charger, and the app says in use. It's not really working. It's still showing their stats on the screen, so that's fun. Start. Start. Stop. So I couldn't get to start or stop or do anything, and the plug was locked into the car again. Pulled the emergency release and let it reboot. Then I was able to press the stop button and unlock the plug. Now I'm just moving spaces actually, since the Tesla's gone. This is sort of the correct spot for the DC charger, and I'll try plugging in again. So the terrible situation is, once I showed the Tesla drivers how to actually plug in properly, it worked just fine for them, and they've just left, but it seems to still think they're charging. The button just says in use in the ChargeFox app, so that doesn't work. I've been trying on and off with the RFID card. That doesn't seem to work. It keeps locking the port into my car, and I have to keep like turning the release thing to manually shut the whole thing down to then be able to get the plug out. So I might try that again. But it's going terribly, I might be charging all the way on AC. There we go. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. Now it's charging. Yeah, I put the handle back in the thing and just left it for a little bit, like 10 seconds. And then it finally lit up the first step, like the plug car in thing. So then it was finally ready to go. Then I plugged it in. Then it all lit up correctly with a flashing thing like scan your RFID card here. I scanned that, then the start button lit up, and then it all worked. So once it's working, the sequence works quite okay. But now I'm finally starting to charge, like an hour after I arrived. On 42%, only getting 45 kilowatts on a 50 kilowatt charger. When I first got to Mount Isa, and pretty much everywhere from Mount Isa to Townsville, they were using the newer tritium chargers, so like the same sort of level as this, same speed and size and everything, but just made more recently, you know. And they were very good. I quite like those chargers, really, for what they are. They are a bit slow, but if got a good screen, I know how to use them and everything, and I generally find them to be quite reliable. And apart from the one in Hewenden, I had no troubles with those chargers. They all worked very well. It seems actually up and down the east coast, I think they put in these stations earlier, so they've used these older tritium chargers, and they just seem to have a lot of problems. Because, yeah, I've used one or two, and sometimes they work alright, sometimes they don't. It's always kind of iffy. So it is good on the East Coast being able to use the other more commercial chargers that work better and have higher power and everything. But when there's gaps in that, you have to use these, and they're not too good. So now you can finally look at getting to Gympie. That would be 200 kilometers away, and I've got 152. So really not too much to charge, not much of a wait, but I've already done quite a bit of a wait, is the annoying bit. But I guess I'll just wait a bit longer. Oh, and I forgot to mention, while I was trying to get the charger to work, a BMW rolled up, electric BMW, and they asked how far along I was charging, and I said I'm not really, hadn't even started, and they were like, thank you, and they just drove off. So I guess they have enough range to make it somewhere else. This is the AC charger I was talking about before. So you put your own Type 2 to Type 2 cable in under that flap. Then I just scanned my card here and expected it to start working, but it didn't. You actually have to scan your card and then press this green button. Not very intuitive, but that's the way that goes. And then it starts working just fine. I also tried activating in the app, and that just didn't seem to work. But anyway, we're now finally charging here, and I've almost got enough to get going. And down here, that's the emergency stop, so you can turn it that way and it will just fully stop the whole system, and then it'll reboot. So I did that twice when I had to unlock the port from my car. I've had a bit of a look at the map and look at plug share and everything to work out where I'm going next. Then I also went to the toilet around the corner. It's a fair bit of a walk away actually. But as I got out, I stood on the concrete base of this sign, and it turns out the concrete base of that sign is not really in, it's just sitting in a hole. So you step on it and the whole sign whacks you in the head like you see on like a cartoon with a rake. So my ear's kind of bleeding a little bit. I don't have any permanent injuries or anything, but it kind of hurt at the time, and it feels like it shouldn't have been left that way. Anyway, I now have 242 kilometers of range, and to the charger I want to use in Gympie, it's 205 kilometers away, so it's a bit of a stretch, but I think I can probably head off. Yeah, I think I should unplug and move on from here if I stay reasonably efficient, which I've been reasonably efficient because it's only 100 and hasn't been raining that much, and you sometimes get stuck behind trucks and caravans and stuff, so as annoying as that is, it actually helps with efficiency. So I should be fine to unplug and move on. The charger I'm planning on going to is this ChargeFox one put in by NG, because I wanted to try that one out. There's also a Tesla supercharger and a weird one and a Queensland EV highway network, whatever it's called one, like what I'm at now. So there's plenty of options in Gympie. I've hit 70% now. 48 kilowatts, 251 kilometers of estimated range. I think I can unplug and move on. I could really use another charger in this town or this area, or just a good station somewhere along here would be ideal. I'm not sure if this is normal. I guess there's normally like 4 of these dotted along this stretch, so everyone would just go to different ones, but most of them are sort of down or partially down, so everyone's going to the one that's working. Anyway, I'm going to get going. My ear is really sore from that sign. Stop. I am on a real highway with 2 lanes going the same direction and fences and everything, and exits rather than going through towns. It's quite special. I don't think I've seen this since, when would be the last time I've seen this? I don't know, I don't think Darwin even, so it would probably be coming out of Perth. But anyway, it is raining fairly steadily. And unfortunately, the proper road that I would take has been closed. I'm not sure if that's due to some form of flooding or just something completely unrelated. But Google Maps has rerouted me. It just means I am going a bit further than I should have had to go, slightly, but that's okay. I have plenty of spare range actually, still 60 kilometers estimated, and I'm only going to do 9.2, another further 9.2 to get to the charger. So efficiency's clearly been fairly good actually. Looks like I'm getting off here. And it's another 7 minutes to the charger, because I think I've kind of driven past the town now because of the flooded road or closed road for whatever reason. I would have to assume flood, really. The directions were spot on. It's right here. And it operates on ChargeFox. So I should be good to just tap my card and go. So it's actually the Kempower chargers that were used by the WA EV network a lot of the time. But this was actually installed by NG. Charging ended. So it's definitely a Kempower issue this, but luckily I'm familiar with it. hold the plug steady. Preparing to charge. From my experience, this one should work, but I don't want to jinx it. Yep. So when you're familiar with the ridiculous bugs, you can work around them perfectly fine. And we're not getting great speeds, actually. Might be ramping, yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about the chem powers. The chem powers are a pretty slow ramp as well. But 64, that might be about where it sits for now. 70, yep, okay, we've got full speeds. I'm gonna run into the shopping centre. I went to the shops, bought food, used the toilet, came back out. And by the time I'd done that, there was a BYD Dolphin right next to me, charging, using the other port on the same charger. The charger seems to be able to handle 2 cars at like good speeds at once, which is good. But there was also the BMW who was with me at the last stop waiting, parked across waiting to charge here. So then I felt like I probably needed to move on as quickly as possible. And I haven't really been thinking about that this trip. I've just been going good charger, good charger, good charger, looking for a good charger. Now that I'm back where a lot of EVs are, I should be looking for chargers with lots of plugs all in the one spot to prevent issues like this. So I was planning to go only 128 kilometres down to a BP Pulse station that had a whole lot of chargers at it. But since the Dolphins left, I might stay here a little bit longer because I am still getting peak speeds. The car's only on 53%, so I could do a bit better than this. And it looks like the BMW is going to plug in and be fine now. I'll see what happens when the BMW plugs in. I assume the BMW has quite good charging performance. The Dolphin was only similar to mine. So if they have good charging performance, they might reduce a bit of my power and then I might move on. But, oh, I've just dropped to 57 kilowatts. So actually it would make sense for me to move on now, even only at 54%. 128 kilometres isn't all that far. I could probably go a little bit further, just looking at plug share. EV station, 1 of 5 available, wow. Yes, I probably don't want to go there. There's only one left and it seems very busy. And then I'm just about in Brisbane. Yeah, that's why the chargers are getting busy. Yeah, I think I probably want to go to that BP one, wherever that was, and charge up so that I can get through Brisbane without charging. Because I feel like in Brisbane it might be a bit busy. Even like people who live in apartments and don't have home charging, just doing, oh my god, the BMW was on 4%. I wondered why they didn't move on to a different spot. They couldn't move on to a different spot. They are getting less power than they probably should be, so I should move on really. I'm going to go to the BP in 128 kilometres and then charge up enough to get through Brisbane. What did BP have? 2 of 3 available, that seems better. And on the other side of the highway there's another identical station, so I have plenty of options there. I wanted to see if the BMW's charging speed would increase when I unplugged, but it's just showing my ended charging session. Yeah, I think they're slowly ramping up now. Yes, so the charger can do 2 cars at 70 kilowatts, which was maxing out my car and the Dolphin, but the BMW is able to get slightly more than that. I'm almost at the BP Pulse charger now, but I think I've actually put the wrong one into the navigation. Because there's a northbound and a southbound side, I actually want the southbound side. I'm pretty sure there's still chargers on the southbound side. I'm really quite sure. But it's telling me to get off in 4 kilometres, then get back on immediately going the other direction. So it's clearly taking me to the one on the other side, which I can certainly do, but it would make more sense because I'm fairly sure there's one sort of like on the opposite side where I could just get off and plug straight in, which would be ideal. But yeah, it's been raining fairly consistently the whole time. Well, getting heavier, lighter, but I think it's pretty much always been raining for this whole stretch. And the traffic has been fairly intense, I guess, coming into Brisbane. It is 5:19 p.m. Yes, here we go. Service Centre, BP and McDonald's, exit 1 kilometre. Because this Google Maps has me going another 8 minutes and 5.1 kilometres to go to basically overshoot it, get off, get back on, and then come back to it. But we're actually getting off right here. Well, this place has everything. Krispy Kreme, KFC, Subway. But a charger would be good. Maybe over near the car park sort of area. Seems a fairly similar layout to Glenrowan South. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, Glenrowan South is usually my last stop of a trip when I'm coming home down the Hume Highway. And I know I always drive past the BP and it's like round the back of the McDonald's. But here we are here, somewhat similar location, but I will get plugged in. I tried twice there. Both times it just got stuck on communicating with vehicle. I mean, maybe to be fair, I didn't give it all that long, but I feel like I waited for long enough that it just wasn't going to work. So I'm just going to try, I could have tried the other plug as well. But I'm going to try the complete different charger. Maybe turn the car off. I tried two things, unfortunately, so I'm not entirely certain. It could have been the car being on, but I don't think that's
from our previous estimates. So
I don't think that's normally an issue. So I think it's probably just that charger had an issue. Might have been the moment. Might have been with my car. Who can really say? But we're ramping up now. Getting, I would imagine, full speed. Yep, 71. So, apart from that being weird, I think this was a fairly good stop to have done, because power had ramped down to 50 something kilowatts already at the previous spot, and I might have been slowing down the BMW, and this way I get to have a bit of a break here and charge up before heading into Brisbane. That way I can get out the other side of Brisbane. I'm now up to 65% state of charge, which means I have more than enough charge to make it into Brisbane and out the other side and into New South Wales. So speed is ramped down to 57 kilowatts now, so it's worth unplugging and moving on to another charger. So I will go ahead to Brisbane and then New South Wales, and then I'll probably call it a night, but I might charge a little bit more at a DC charger in New South Wales and maybe head on a little bit more, but we'll see how we go. It is already 5:53 p.m. I think we're in Brisbane. You can only see the tops of buildings poking out from these big concrete bollards. Yep, we're definitely in the city. So I'm not really sure that there's going to be anywhere I could actually stop, but I think I'm suitably driving through Brisbane now. The river and the bridges and everything. I was actually here 6 months ago. I just drove directly up from Melbourne. So it feels a lot more familiar territory now. But I've now officially done it as part of a lap as well. So I'm going to call that complete and say I've done Brisbane and I can continue on. I would have liked to get a shot of the car sitting in Brisbane somewhere, but I don't think that's very realistic. I think I've got enough just driving through it. And now I guess I'll go on to like Coolangatta or something for the night. Just somewhere that's not in a city as much. I somewhat unknowingly just passed into New South Wales. I was heading for Coolangatta, which is in Queensland. But I'm in New South Wales right now, apparently. So there we go. So I will probably actually spend the night in Queensland, despite having just passed into New South Wales, because it's 9 p.m. in Queensland, and it's only it's 9 p.m. in New South Wales and only 8 p.m. in Queensland, so it'll probably be easier to find accommodation in Queensland, but I'll see what I can do. Welcome to Queensland. So that was a fun little dip into New South Wales, a preview of tomorrow. Here we are. You wouldn't know it, but that is the Gold Coast beach out there. So I think I really just need to park somewhere now and figure out where I'm going to stay. Here's the wonderful ocean views. And here's Coolangatta. Whew. Oh, I'm so tired. I've been driving non-stop since before Brisbane, and it's been intense driving, not just sitting with cruise control. Anyway, I'll work out where I'm at and see you in a minute. Well, no caravan parks were still open, which was probably to be expected, but I managed to get into a hotel on the beach, which should be quite nice, but it means I have to sort of leave the car for the night, and there's not really parking, so I'm parked on the street. Yeah, the car's on 30% though, so it's fine to sit overnight. I have to move the car by 6:30 a.m. though, because that's when it becomes a no standing zone, which is lovely. But I just sort of pack up here, grab stuff I'll need for the room, make sure the fridge is able to run all night off the power bank, hopefully, and go up to bed. It's been a fairly long day. This place is kind of fancy. It's even got a balcony. See the car down there. It's a good peace of mind. And that's the beach.